Hey, hello guys, my name is Mia Marie and you are currently watching my Synastry Compatibility series where I go through all the 12 signs, sun signs, and how they get along. Now, as a general disclaimer, we reference so much more than just the sun sign for compatibility, but the importance of the sun and understanding someone's sun sign and accepting it and supporting it is that the sun sign describes the motives, the behaviors, the experiences that contribute to someone's sense of sanity. So we're not talking so much about what someone needs emotionally or how they flirt or what makes them great in bed, all of those very, romantic topics. We're talking about how to support someone's vitality, someone's sense of self, and someone's healing human journey. So keep in mind that this is just a gentle introduction, and you can get so much more by booking a session with me or another fantastic astrologer. I hope you enjoy. Someone with their sun in Capricorn has a soul that came to Earth to learn that when you work productively, you learn patience, persistence, and perseverance. Now, something that not a lot of astrologers talk about, which I find completely baffling, is that Neptune was in Capricorn from 1984 until 1998. And this is a huge influence because yes, Capricorns are hard workers and they typically, stereotypically, archetypally know who they are and what they want to do. With Neptune here, you can actually get a character that has no idea who they are. It's almost as if they are Piscean, Capricornian characters. You're dealing with a Capricorn who was born in that time. You might notice that they have a hard time establishing an ego or seeing themselves clearly. There is this, it's almost as if when you take a shower and the mirror is fogged and you try to look at yourself, you can't see yourself. That is the Capricorn with Neptune on the sun. So back to Capricorn energy. Capricorn is the third earth sign. It is the most mature. It takes the security and the competence from Taurus. It takes the systems that Virgo has created and it goes, okay, how do we turn this into a company? How do we sell this? How do we market this? How do we create revenue? How do we provide for the masses? It's a universally oriented sign. These are typically like the bosses because they are focused on order of operations. They like things done in a specific way. They keep a list of things to do and they like to check those things off. They get off to being productive. Capricorn is naturally ruled by the planet Saturn, and that's the planet with the ring around it, which is perfect because Capricorn, Saturn energy, it's all about restriction, constriction, knowing boundaries, exercising boundaries, bending to authority, really wanting a position that gives you authority and power. And so oftentimes what you'll find with these people is it's hard for them to play and have fun, to experience joy, because if you're playing around all day, you're not going to be as productive, right? It goes against their motive to be persistent and patient and to persevere against all odds. It's thinking the long haul. What are the decisions that I can make every single day that will turn my life into a legacy? What is my great work? And that is something that will stick with Capricorn their whole lives. Now, something they may not realize is that some of their greatest work is going to be internal. It's going to be something that nobody else sees. They are in so many ways proving themselves to themselves, similar to Taurus, but on a greater scale. The stakes are so much higher. They're in the public eye. And along with that, they care a lot about how other people view them. They want to come off as professional and polished. They like their clothes like iron. They like neutrals, or they just like to give the look like they are all about their business. And if they don't, you can tell depression has many correlations with Saturn energy or Capricorn energy. And so that's their default. And when they're depressed, it's their body trying to scream at them like, this isn't working. This ego that you are working to accomplish. And as a preface, or for clarification, I don't demonize the ego. I think that everyone has one and it must serve a purpose, and the ego is trainable. That's the beauty. You can always train your ego to be in service to your soul. So I'm not slamming egos. Depression is always a call from the soul, and it's saying, I don't want to be this character anymore. I don't want to live this life anymore. I'm tapping out. And when you have that perspective, when you have that awareness, then you're able to adjust your schedule. And it will be something that you have to manage on the outside. And then as you do it, as you start moving your body through the adjustment in your schedule, you'll start to reconnect with yourself, or Capricorn will start to reconnect with themselves. It will also manifest by their habits and their behaviors. When they're not working, they'll work until they're exhausted, and then they'll come home and they'll want to drink or they'll want to smoke. They just want out. Okay, so Capricorns in relationships specifically, it is a duty. It is something that is similar to a job. They want to show up, and they want to show up every day, and they expect that you're going to show up every day. And more than that, they will exercise their own restrictions and expectations onto you. They want you to get on board with their schedule. They are a leadership sign. They're a cardinal sign. And so you will find that they really take you under their wing, and they want you guys to excel together. In my personal experience, I found that Capricorn does appreciate partnership, but it doesn't do the flings. It wants marriage. It wants kids. It wants the earthly representations of accomplishment. They are reliable. They are consistent. They are on top of it. They're on top of what you're doing, what you're not doing, what you should be doing. And they have an eye for things that are flawed, and they'll point it out to you. They can kind of have a more serious or stoic attitude towards life, and it's very matter of fact when you're with them. They have this dry quality to their personality that people can find endearing. Now, some deal breakers with Capricorn. If you are not thinking long term, if you don't want a serious relationship, if you don't want to be married or have children or buy a house or grow old together, that is a Capricorn thing, then they will dismiss you quite quickly. They don't want to entertain games, and they don't appreciate when you try and toy with them because they will show up for you. They take life seriously, and they take themselves seriously, which means they also take you seriously, and they expect you to act as a mature, grown, and responsible adult at all times. Now, if you're someone who's a little bit more spontaneous, like for example, in my personal experience with Capricorn, I like to do things on a whim. I can't stand a plan. I like just putting myself out there and having a fun time watching where life takes me. If you have that type of an attitude, they are going to contract. They may get on board depending on their other placements, but there's something inside of them that gets nervous, and they kind of like do this, they don't like it, and they might judge you, and they may call you impulsive. They don't appreciate impulsivity. They don't appreciate things that are done on a whim because it's not well thought out. You're not thinking of the consequences of your actions. What if you get lost? What if you run out of money? What if blah, 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 blah. They're going to name all the cautionary things that you didn't think about as you're trying to bungee jump off of a cliff. Piggybacking on that, they are risk averse. They don't like putting themselves in situations where they may fail, because what does that show about them? What does that prove about them? That means that they aren't this authoritarian character or authoritative character, depending on whichever one they subscribe to, high functioning, low functioning. They don't like to look stupid. They like to come off as someone who can manage the masses. And so they will avoid situations where there is a greater probability that they will fall on their face, or they have a hard time surrendering to the unknown. And they will criticize you for putting yourself in that situation until they see that you have been successful. So if you're someone who enjoys challenge, risk, and thrills, expect to have like a sit-down conversation where it's like, they're the principal and you're the student, and they're like, listen to me. This is the rules. This is what we do. Another thing they won't appreciate is if you don't take your life seriously. If you are not accomplishing things on a daily basis, or if you have nothing to prove for your day or your energy or your effort, they like to show their person off. They like to feel as if they have also won a prize. They are a prize, and so is their person. They like the power couple idea. And so if you are a little bit, if you're not as ambitious, or if your ambitions don't yield material, again, representations of success and accomplishment, they're not going to gravitate towards you. But all in all, they're about their business. And if you are with them, then you are their business. So they're focused on the long term. They want commitment. They will show up for you. They will want to provide for you. They will want to make you feel like your relationship is stable and your home space is stable and you guys can do whatever you like because you have the funds in the bank. Sun in Capricorn, Sun in Capricorn. So you have decided to date somebody who is on the same path as you, generally speaking. Someone who's here to work hard, to learn patience, persistence, and perseverance. Now, when you are dating somebody or you're in a relationship with somebody who is of the same sun sign, what you are taking a masterclass in is self-love. Because often what happens in these relationships is, yes, you choose someone who's very similar to you, but the way that they misbehave or the way that they handle their problems is very different than what you allow yourself to see about yourself. And so this is a great opportunity for you to see the high and low sides of your sun sign. So say, for example, it's date night and you guys are both Capricorns and you guys have a dinner reservations at 7 o'clock and your Capricorn partner has to work overtime and they cancel on you. Now, if you are a Capricorn yourself and you were in that position, you'd be like, I really tried to get out of the office and I just couldn't do it. I'm so sorry. I'm so focused. We have these deadlines. The end of the quarter is creeping up on us. You would understand that mindset. But in that specific situation, if you are the person being left at the table, it's like, oh, wow, you yet again are prioritizing work over the reason why you work. You're forgetting about the humanness. You're forgetting about our relationship. You're forgetting about other obligations. Yes, work is important, but so are the other areas of your life, like your family, like me, like our relationship. And those types of breakthroughs can come in other ways and through other relationships, but there's something about you going up against an energy that is similar enough and equal in force that allows you to get to those places sooner. So you can see very clearly how, a workhorse becomes kind of like a robot who just forgets to live. And then as you're talking through that with your partner, your criticisms, your judgments, you almost give yourself permission to bring your subconscious motives up into your consciousness for you to digest and work through. Now, I will say that this combination is a powerhouse. These are two people who are focused on showing up in society in a really big way. You guys will have similar interests about what's happening in the news, the economy, the stock market. How are your investments going? Oh, I've heard that, this is happening globally and affecting billions and millions of people. You guys will also have a same kind of temperament. I mean, you guys could have completely different moon signs, which would, when you think of someone's moon sign, I want you to think about like their mood, right? How they handle things, their temperament. And so how you guys handle things might be very different, but at the same time, there is this gravitational pull towards being more stoic, more serious, more professional. And the blessing of being with someone who is similar to you in that way is that you feel validated. I think, say, for example, if a Capricorn were dating an Aries would be irritated by Capricorn's need to focus on the negative and focus on improvements and like sweat, blood, tears, nose to the grind. That type of attitude would make a fire sign or an air sign uncomfortable. They would be repulsed by that. But when you're dating someone who is of the same song as you, they understand exactly where you are and they're able to show up for you in a way that makes you feel that much better. Now, at the same time, we are dealing with two Capricorns, two leaders, and we all know what happens when there are two chefs in the kitchen. It does not always pan out the best way possible. So there will need to be negotiation, and I don't always appreciate or encourage compromise, but when you're dating someone who is so similar to you, I think that it's easier to compromise without compromising too much of yourself. Right? So you guys are going to have to take turns being shift leaders, because if you guys both try and run the relationship, you guys are going to run yourselves away from each other. You guys will prize respect, discipline, order in the house, order in your relationship. And so I see a lot of positivity in the ways in which you guys communicate and talk about your issues. And that might be another point of development for you. When Capricorn is overwhelmed, when it's not paying attention to its emotions, it will obviously disconnect from its emotional body, but that hole that's created is something that's inevitable. Capricorn is represented by the devil in Tarot for this reason, because the devil card talks about how we willingly give our power away to addictions, obsessions, kind of compulsive behavior that actually harms us. And so when you're working with a Capricorn, or you're in a relationship with a Capricorn, it becomes easier for you to accept and love the ways in which you try and escape managing your emotions in a healthier way. Relationship compatibility, romantic quotient is kind of hard to establish because, I mean, two Capricorns who are always focused on work and their public image, there isn't a lot of glue that keeps these two involved or engaged in the relationship, other than the fact that it is a responsibility, a duty, and a commitment. And so what can happen is there's not a lot of romance. It's just kind of like, this is how we live. This is when we sleep together. This is when we eat together. This is when we have date night. This is when we do this. But the higher side of this is that you guys love the finer things in life. And oftentimes with Capricorn placements, I mean, you either have Aquarius energy and flavors or Sagittarian flavors. And with both combinations, there is a desire to travel and see the world. And so I see that there is an indulgent quality between the two of you guys. You guys will show your affection towards each other by buying each other gifts, taking each other out to nice dinner dates, going on vacations and staying in really nice resorts, getting massages, physical representations of just being spoiled is a way that you guys will show, your romantic feelings, dare I say, your romantic feelings with each other. I don't know if it's actually rooted in the desire to be romantic, or if it is just like, oh yeah, I'm in a relationship. I need to show up for people in this way. It could go either way. But yeah, there is some kind of effort and mindfulness that needs to go towards keeping the romantic flavors of the relationship alive, because being two leaders, you guys are often always starting different things, generally in the same direction, but not exactly, coming to a head together. So yeah, that is what I have for you at this moment. If you would like to learn more about your relationship with a Capricorn, you can find me at wellandrising.com for a personal one-on-one live consultation. Okay, toodles.